All right, we are recording once again for another one of our Conscious Creator Collaborative Work Period meetings here for leading members. And we were just actually about like a few minutes into the meeting before we actually started recording. And Kristen was just updating us on some of the progress that she's been making and was just asking a question about whether or not she should create a Facebook group for her community or what. And I was suggesting ultimately looking into creating a Discord server that way. So that way, when you're bringing people in from multiple platforms, you can direct them to the Discord opposed to just centralizing your audience purely to Facebook. Because frankly, a lot of people don't even use Facebook as much anymore. The majority of your audience, especially like, if you start making some big waves on TikTok, the majority of your audience could come in through TikTok. So being able to say, hey, from TikTok, you can go to the Discord, which is something that anybody can install, opposed to just going from TikTok back to Facebook, which I think some people are going to be like, oh, like Facebook groups, I don't really like those. And again, the downside with Facebook groups is that even when you post notifications, unless people have it set to like get first, they won't see the notifications all the time because they can easily get lost within like a sea of regular notifications. As well. And then, yeah, I was just mentioning to Kristen that that's something that can help with setting up the Discord server to kind of create categories for the different aspects of her project, and also I can help customize it. And you were also mentioning about just starting to take those steps towards creating a Patreon, and that's definitely something we can talk more about as well. So, but yeah, Kristen, real quick before we go over to Julia, was there anything else you wanted to touch upon real quick? Because I mean, I know like we can even chat more like beyond this particular meeting, but yeah, because I know there's always more questions.
I mean, I've got 1,000 questions, but that really got what I needed for today. Thank you, Brendan. I appreciate it.
No problem. Okay. And yeah, we could obviously go deeper, but yeah, we'll just, we'll keep moving along. So Julia, I'll pass the mic over to you, and you just kind of tell me like what it is that you're looking to do, and then I'll kind of see what we can brainstorm together. So Julia, go ahead.
Hey, thank you so much. Yeah, so I wanted to be able to, like, I like how you are able to live stream to many different places so people can see it all at once. What I was doing was recording on Zoom, and then I'd have my, so that would be on my computer, and then I'd have my phone set up, and then I would be on Instagram Live, but then you can't see the two people who are talking on Zoom, so they're only seeing me. So then I flipped it to see my laptop, and it just looked so stupid. So I wanted to be able to like just stream it so that people could see.
Okay, so you're essentially like you have your Facebook, you have your YouTube, and you're going from Zoom, and you want to go to both ideally, and anything, but it's also Instagram also. Yeah. Okay, so there's a few different techniques, and honestly, it's still something that I'm still kind of exploring as well. But one thing to actually start off with would just be becoming familiar with how to be able to stream from Zoom directly into Facebook. What I was literally just testing out before we came here today was the ability to see if you can stream from Zoom to Facebook and YouTube at the same time, but I think you actually have to go through a third party, which is something I'm familiar with. It's like another website. So have you looked into the ability to live stream from Zoom to Facebook or YouTube literally within Zoom? Like, have you seen that? Like, have you done that before?
Oh no, I was going through like Yellow Duck and like OBS, like using those things, but I didn't know you could do it directly from Zoom.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't because it's kind of actually hidden. So what you actually have to do, you have to log into Zoom within the web browser. And then once you're logged in there, you'll go under account settings. And then under account settings, there's like a little tiny tab that says, what does it say exactly? It's something, yeah, here it is. It says allow live streaming. So again, like log into Zoom from your desktop, and then like from there, go to account settings. And then from there, it literally says allow live streamings. And then you click enable on that, and make sure you have the latest version of Zoom. And then in Zoom, on the bottom right corner, next to where it says like screen share and participants and everything like that, there's a little button that says more. And then when you click on that, it will say like live on Facebook, live on YouTube. I was just testing this beforehand. It's pretty straightforward. I haven't done the test to be able to see how it live streams to YouTube. But ultimately, to be able to like get a little bit more advanced, that's when you start getting into using OBS and a platform called Restream, which I'll post in the chat. And so basically, like without having to get into the details, the way how it works is that, oh, like you've used OBS before? Is that what you were saying? Like you've used, like how, well, let me just check first. Like how familiar are you with OBS?
No, not very. I used it, like I tried to use it and then I implemented it into Yellow Duck, but I'm not sure. Like it's pretty straightforward being able to like copy and paste those two little codes. So I'm familiar with that, but I'm not very familiar with being able to make it work.
Okay, so I've never used Yellow Duck, but that's like from, does Yellow Duck send it to other platforms? And Yellow Duck, does it send it to like YouTube and Facebook and stuff like that?
Yeah, I can send it to, I was trying to just do it directly to Instagram, but yeah, I can go
Oh,
to other
okay.
places.
But did it work though, or?
No, it was, yeah, it didn't really work very well. It was really glitchy and it just, I didn't want to rely on it when it came time to like going live on the Zoom.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. Okay, good. That's just good to know for getting an idea of where you're at. So basically, the way how I have things set up, and again, this took me a little bit to be able to figure out, but it's definitely possible and anybody can do it. If you want to stream specifically to Instagram and as well as Facebook and YouTube in a very, like if you're not interviewing someone else, if it's just you on camera, a good website that you would want to use is an application called Loola. I'm going to post a link for that here in the chat. It's LOOLA.tv. So you can check that out. They do have a kind of like a free version that you can use that has a bit of a watermark, but essentially what you do there is it literally just, it's a really revolutionary platform. I've been using it for quite a while and seeing them develop. But basically it will register your input such as like your webcam, and then from there you can select the different streaming services such as like, I think it, does it stream to, I'm just wondering if it streams to Facebook. I think Facebook is the only one it doesn't stream to, but it literally streams to YouTube, to Instagram, to TikTok, to Twitter, and a few other miscellaneous ones. So if you're literally just doing a live stream where you want to be able to go to Facebook and YouTube at the same time, or sorry, onto Instagram and YouTube at the same time, Loola TV is definitely something to play around with. However, you're probably looking more for being able to do like interviews with people as well. Is that part of it? Like that's kind of what you want to be able to do, is to kind of like have those interviews, right? Yeah, okay. So the way how I do this, and again, I know me explaining this is just going to be kind of like a very kind of like blunt introduction to something that actually takes a little bit longer to explain. But basically the way how I do things is that you're using OBS, and OBS stands for Open Broadcast Software, which I encourage for people who are interested in learning about doing the live stream. Again, I'm going to make sure that I teach you guys this as best as I can. OBS stands for Open Broadcast Software. It's a free to use software. And basically what it does is you can select specific video inputs to run into OBS. And then from OBS, you will run that stream as a stream key. This is kind of the terminology. There's stream keys. You run the stream key into a platform known as Restream. And this is restream.io. And I'm going to post that in the chat as well. So if you guys just want to like copy both those links, you can save them for later. And then from Restream, you individually connect your Facebook as well as your YouTube. But those are the primary ones. The other ones are like Twitch and stuff. But if you're not using that, that's not a problem. And then with OBS, this is where you can start getting a little bit more dynamic, because what you can actually do is you can actually take like a video input of your Zoom meeting, run it through OBS, and then from OBS, it goes to Restream, and then from Restream, it goes into your other platforms. The thing with that though is that if you're, it requires a little bit more of a technical setup in terms of being able to set up the audio. I know how to do it on Mac. I know for PC it's a little bit different because I don't have a PC, but that would have to be something that you would have to do a little bit of troubleshooting. So whatever course you're taking, there is going to be a little bit of technical troubleshooting, and I'll do my best to help you guys with that. And with OBS, what makes this good is that you can actually get into like adding additional graphics on screen with it, which is what you guys see when I do stuff, which can really help with the presentation. The other thing is that within the streaming from Restream to YouTube, what you want to do is you want to create a live stream ahead of time within YouTube. And then from there, you want to create like a standard setting that has what is referred to as a persistent stream key. So it's a persistent stream key, meaning it doesn't change. And then within Restream, you basically have to change, every time you do a new live stream, you have to tell it which URL you're sending it to. So that would be the new YouTube URL. And then from there, it will send it into YouTube, but you have to be in the YouTube live editor or the live studio, and then it will show the feed coming in through there, but then you have to manually click go live within YouTube. That's why when you guys see me do my broadcast, like I'll start the broadcast on Facebook because it automatically sends it through Facebook, and then on YouTube, it will send it into the studio, but then I have to click live to go on to YouTube. I know what I'm saying right now may sound like jargon and may sound a little bit confusing. It is a bit confusing because there is quite a few steps to do it, but that's kind of the basics of it. But yeah, so using Restream, you can broadcast to Facebook and YouTube at the same time, but you need to use OBS. However, I'm trying to figure out if within the I'm literally just looking at it right now. I'm actually quite certain that you can literally stream from Zoom right into Restream without going through OBS, and that's actually something that I haven't done this before, but I'm actually going to look into it just to be able to see whether or not it's possible for you guys, because that would basically mean that you guys basically can bypass using OBS if you're fine with having like a basic visual setup with Zoom, which would just kind of be like no additional graphics, and it would probably say Zoom in the corner. But when you have enabled live streaming on Zoom, when you click the more button, once you've enabled that, you'll notice a setting that says live on custom live streaming service. And then from there, you will see the option for a stream key. That is the stream key that you would enter that would stream it to Restream, and then from Restream, it would stream it to Facebook and YouTube. However, you can't stream from Restream to Instagram. It doesn't have that ability. So that's where like in order to be able to Restream from like Facebook to YouTube and Instagram at the same time, it's starting to get into like a lot of processing power that is a little bit hard to handle. I would have to test this, but the other, this is like the last detail just in terms of like the complication of like the dynamics of things. Within OBS, in order to stream from OBS to Instagram, what you can do, I've figured this out, you can install a plugin for OBS that lets you set your OBS video output as what is known as a virtual camera. And then within Lula, you can select your virtual camera as your output, but it may not pick up your audio properly for both participants of your interview. That's something that I've had trouble with Lula. So I've only streamed using Lula to Instagram and to TikTok when it's just me. But if it's and if I'm like doing like a team broadcast, I don't even use Lula because it would take up too much processing power, and it would potentially like cause the rest of the streams to kind of like get glitchy and stuff like that. So just to kind of reiterate, if you're on a stream just by yourself, if it's just you and you want to stream to YouTube and to Instagram and theoretically to Facebook at the same time, what I would do is I would stream through Lula, but then what you might, I know this sounds complicated, what you might also want to do is have your live stream through Facebook coming through your desktop, or using like an additional mobile device to be able to restream to your desktop using your Facebook mobile device. That way, so you're live on Facebook, YouTube and on Instagram at the same time. But again, if you're streaming with an additional person, I think if you're bypassing OBS, using the setting within Zoom to be able to live to a custom streaming service, and then that's where you get your stream key from Restream, and it goes from Zoom to Restream to Facebook and to YouTube, but you still have to enable, you still have to toggle the live button within the YouTube studio. I'm gonna stop talking for now because I know that's a lot, and I don't want to like throw a lot at you guys, even though that like literally that is me explaining it as simple as possible. And I know even still it's like, yo, that's a lot. So that's where, again, I'm gonna just like, I want to be able to make some tutorials just to be able to get you guys familiar with this. But honestly, the best way to learn from this is just to kind of start, take a couple hours and just start playing around and do some test broadcasts, and you'll get it working. You'll be like, oh, sweet. Okay, now I know how to use Lula. And then you can try using the Zoom to Restream option. And then if you're really brave, you can try using OBS. But OBS is, again, it's a little bit more advanced. So if you don't have to use OBS, I would avoid using it. But if your computer can handle OBS, then it definitely opens up a little bit more capabilities in terms of like customizing things and everything like that. I'll pass it over to Julia and let me know, like, again, I know that's a lot, but check out the website lula.tv and check out Restream, and then enable your live streaming option within your Zoom profile. And I'm not sure if you need to have an upgraded Zoom account like I do, so I'm not 100% sure if that setting is still there even for people who don't have an upgraded Zoom account, but I think it is. But that would be your first step. So your first steps: activate live streaming within your Zoom account by logging in on your desktop and going to account settings. And then from there, check out lula.tv and check out Restream and start playing around with things. If you can do what you need with that, great. If you feel like you need more, then you use OBS to start getting into more complex stuff. So I would avoid using OBS until you're kind of like at that level where you're just familiar with like the other parts of it first. So Julia, I'll pass it over to you and let me know if like any particular questions, or if that, like, again, I'd like just, I know that's a lot, so let me know if it makes sense or whatever.
Yeah, no, it is a lot, but that's getting into that technology stuff is kind of is new. But yeah, thank you so much. I'm just going to play around with it and see how that goes. I love to be able to make graphics. So when you do the intro, are you streaming, your beautiful visual, are you streaming from your desktop so that it's kind of using your screen and then just showing it into the live stream? Or are you,
Yeah, so that's with OBS, that's where it can get a little bit more advanced, because with OBS, it's hard for me to tell you this without seeing it, but within OBS, you basically have like a preview monitor and a live monitor. And this is like going back to like this stuff, like it's basically a digital version of a production studio where, if you had like two cameras, it'd be like the live camera and be like, okay, cut from camera 1 to camera 2. So the preview monitor would be something that you can kind of like show additional things that aren't on screen yet, and then you basically transition them over. But within this selection of what you have on your preview, that's where you can upload additional graphics. So yeah, so that graphic of like the Paradigm Shift logo at the beginning, that's a graphic that I've literally just uploaded as it's either a GIF or an MP4. You can upload a variety of them, and then yeah, you can just kind of like change the size. So yeah, so if you're already like feeling like, okay, sweet, I got some custom graphics I want to do and stuff like that, then definitely do that. But know that you're going to need to start using OBS. So even before you get into that, I would start practicing using OBS just to make sure that your computer can run it properly, based on like, because like if you have OBS open, that's one thing. But once you have it open and like broadcasting and streaming, it takes up a little bit more processing power. And ultimately, you just want to avoid, like bad frame rate and audio sync and stuff like that. That's where it gets a little bit more complex. If you guys have ever seen me, like before, like some of the broadcasts, I'm like, yo, can you guys like clap and count to 5? Because I'm trying to get you guys to get the audio sync incorrectly. Because depending even just like on the temperature of my room, it will affect the way my computer operates. And then what you can do is if you notice your audio is out of sync, you can actually toggle like the delay on the audio to be able to fix that. So there's always kind of like ways. But yeah, if you feel like you got some graphics you want to use, you can bring those into OBS, and then you can like, you can bring on a name key, you can bring in a title graphic, you can bring on other information to tell people to go to websites, et cetera, et cetera. And you can also get a little bit more complicated when you can start having the audio as like an input from your desktop as input for your broadcast. So this is where you can start getting into audio mixing. So again, if you guys have seen me do this, where I have like the intro music, and that's literally toggling that as I'm bringing my mic up, and then bring that down. And then, so again, it takes practice, but it's definitely possible. So it's like, essentially that's the thing. If you got a good enough computer, whatever you can imagine, you can do, right? And so that's what I'm here to just kind of remind you of. And then it's just kind of like the technical know-how to be able to make it happen. But yeah, Julia, go ahead. I'll pass it back to you. Or if anybody else has any questions related to this, let me know, because again, I'm just be able to answer questions as we go. Go ahead, Julia. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just had one more question. I don't know if you're going to be able to know the answer to this, but when I go live on Instagram, and then I think I've asked you before, you said that I can like save my IGTV and then post it. But sometimes after I go live, it doesn't save to my device. So I'm not really sure what's going on. But I can post it. It will be like saved on my Instagram, IG, like things, but I won't be able to like post it again somewhere else without like just posting a link.
Okay, yeah. So what I recommend there is the Instagram kind of like changed a few of their settings recently. So like the lives aren't posted they're posted to a timeline. They're not posted in the lives anymore. But what I recommend is I'm posting a link for this in the chat. There's a plugin that you can get for Chrome called Downloader, and it's called Instagram Downloader. And so what you can do is you can literally like, you don't even have to worry, depending on how you're using it, you don't even necessarily have to worry about saving your video to your device. If your video properly uploads after you're done, what you can do is you can go to your desktop, go to your account on Instagram from your desktop. If this plugin's installed, you can literally hover over the clip and it will say download, and then you can download it, and then you have it on your desktop. And that's like way easier, right? Because it saves like, see, this didn't used to be a thing. I wasn't able to used to do this. So I always had to save it to my device, and I was always running out of space, and it was a pain in the butt. So this is a little bit easier. And then usually, like if you guys see like on my timeline, when I do the meditations in the morning, I have like the additional preview image, right? Like I have like the title and stuff like that. What I'm actually doing there is I broadcast live, and then I download that, and then I re-upload it with a specific custom thumbnail and additional information. And once that's published, I actually delete the original live. And then that way, so it's just like not duplicated and stuff, because that's kind of the thing is like, once you kind of have done the live, you can't customize the title image, which is kind of a pain in the butt, right? Because especially if you want to make it so it's like fitting your branding and everything. But again, the good news is that once you download it to desktop, you could also re-upload it to your Instagram or to your YouTube or your Facebook. So again, this is where like even, for Kristen and for anybody else as well, if you guys are theoretically like doing like interviews on Instagram, those in themselves could almost become like interviews for a little bit of a podcast, where you download it from Instagram, and maybe you just clip the intro and the outro, and then you kind of like create a little format, and maybe you're not even using the video, maybe you're just using the audio. But again, it's a great way to be able to just make sure that you're like getting the files that you need to work with by utilizing Instagram Live. So yeah, does that answer your question, Julia?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have one more question about TikTok. So on TikTok, when I used to be able to go live. Like I remember I had like a little live button at the bottom, and now it's gone. And I like looked up on YouTube, how do I resolve this? And someone said like, you just like send an email to them, and I did that. And I'm just kind of like, yeah.
Yeah. Do you, how many followers do you have on TikTok right now? Do you know?
I have like 4.
Okay, so you were probably doing that way back in the day, and now TikTok basically has it set up so that you have to have at least 1,000 followers in order to be able to go live. So that's probably the answer to the question. Yeah, like and like side note and stuff like that. If you're using Lula, and like this might be again like even for I'm not sure if Danny's still here. Yeah, because I know Danny, you can go live on on TikTok as well. But if you're going live on TikTok using Lula, be aware that like I was I received like a termination of my live while using Lula, and I'm not exactly sure why, but I'm leaning towards the possibility that it might be because I was using Lula, but I don't know for sure. Like, but basically, like I've had my live like disabled, so right now I'm in this process where like I'm having to like email technical support and hopefully hearing back in order to be able to re-enable my live stream. But just be aware that this is not me knowing for certain, but if you use Lula, that could correlate to you violating community guidelines according to TikTok's like AI or something like that. So just be aware of that. Again, I did lots of live streams on TikTok and I never had a problem. And then one day I was just doing live tarot the same way we've always done. And then suddenly it got terminated and now I can't live stream again, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it is what it is. So just be aware that, and again, I'm not sure if Lula caused that or what. I really don't know. Lots of people get banned on TikTok live for reasons that just seem like very like unclear as well. So if you're live streaming on TikTok, just, you know, keep it super simple, talk to the camera, make sure you don't have music on in the background. That might have been it too, because I had like a little bit of music on in the background. That could have been it. But again, I had done that like a bunch of times and never had an issue. So I was a bit surprised. But again, just be aware if you're using Lula, that could cause an issue with TikTok. Not to scare you guys, but just to be aware of it. So but yeah. Julia, any other questions or anybody else related to live streaming? Go for it. Yeah.
No, thank you so much.
Okay, cool. So Julia, do you kind of got an idea on what your next steps are going to be for live streaming? Like I think enabling the live streaming within Zoom and then checking out Lula and checking out Restream and getting your stream keys and then even doing some test broadcast would be what I would consider. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Cool, no problem. And then once you get to the point where you're like playing with OBS and doing like graphics and stuff like that, like let me know and I can help you with that a little bit further and additional setup and stuff. Yeah. Okay, cool. Sweet. All right. Felicia, did you have your hand up related to live streamings or anything like that? Okay, go for it, Felicia. Yeah.
There we go. Okay, I had myself muted. I muted myself since I came in. Yeah, just for now, my main question would be, do you have any specific advice for someone trying to do this from like definitely just phones for now? Like what works best on, like not necessarily works best on mobile, but what like is either not available on mobile or like is not good as much to use on mobile, because I might not have a desktop again for a while, or might not have like a tablet that works like a desktop for a bit. I might be getting one soon, but I'm working from a old track phone, smartphone that's like still works but falling apart, and a hand-me-down iPhone from a couple years ago that I actually can't get Instagram on at all. So I might have to use my mom's phone to do that until I can buy a new one. So trying to brainstorm where I can though, and utilize what resources I do have. Like I've been able to borrow other people's devices for other things like that before. I'm used to tech going wonky on me. But yeah, do you have, that kind of went on a little bit of a ramble, I apologize, but do you have any specific advice on what works like better or best for working on a mobile device? Because I've been like taking notes as I go along, like I even have my little.
Yeah, fortunately, yeah, no, thank you for the question. And fortunately, like, I mean, we're at the point where like the lives using mobile device are pretty good. Right now, like you're on Facebook, kind of like that's your primary account, right? Like Facebook, but you're.
Yeah, I'm trying. I haven't looked to see if I can download TikTok, because if I can download TikTok on the phone I'm using right now, I could start on that, because I was going to start on Instagram first, because like I already needed to do that for photography anyway. I might do 2 separate accounts, but either way, for 2 big reasons, I really needed to do one again. But now that I go to do it again and it's like, you cannot download on this device, it's incompatible, get new stuff, and I'm like, I can't, I'm too broke, trying to manifest some income over here. I got necessities, other necessities to pay for, and and like like the Patreon and stuff and other things. But oh crap, I forgot where I was going with the sentence before that. I'm sorry.
No problem. But yeah, just checking in because Facebook is kind of like your primary platform.
Right. That's what you were saying. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
It's mostly Facebook, and I really wanna. I think what I want to do, just because like life is crazy, I like to post like everything on my personal Facebook. I might try to do like a separate Facebook page, kind of like how you have like the Paradigm Shift Facebook page, and then there's like Brendan, and you have a lot of shift stuff on there, but it's, you know, kind of technically two different things. And kind of try to do more, both because of the reasons like you were discussing about Facebook and not relying on that, but like also for other reasons, trying to have more of like my conscious creation stuff be on the Discords, the Instagrams, the TikToks, and so on, and still having like a place for it on Facebook, but more of just like a separate page that my regular page can share, and I can let people know it's me. But like when people just want to tune in to me for more like spiritually based stuff, I don't necessarily want like, although it could still be relevant to them, and there's a lot of people I'll still connect with on my personal Facebook, I don't necessarily want like every single thing I'm trying to discuss in the entire world to be like with it, even though a lot of it relates, but I want like people to have that option, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, again, I think obviously just like starting with what you have on Facebook is definitely, you know, worth getting set up. If you feel like you want to create a page on Facebook, go for it. But just be aware that pages are very kind of like hard to grow. So if anything, it would almost kind of like function more as like an archive that you can just kind of connect people to in some way, you know, where it's like
exactly, it would be like a placeholder for me, like a stepping stone, like go here and then here's my links to all this other stuff.
Yeah,
but
like,
it just, you know, gives that sort of glue or that like lead in the path. I don't know, I felt like something else better was coming word wise there, but I think you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, like I think like even if you're going live on Facebook, you could literally tag your page into your live stream. You could say like, it'd be like, you know, like if you're watching this, like feel free to check out more on my page. So you're not really trying to like draw like your majority of your traffic to your page, but you're just like, hey, like it's almost like kind of like pointing them towards like an art folder type thing where
I like that
in one place. But yeah, like I think obviously, yeah, like and if you're building stuff on the Facebook page, that stuff could easily start to translate over to Instagram once you have that ready. So even if you're kind of like building on Facebook, eventually you can migrate that over to Instagram. But just understanding that like your Instagram page wouldn't necessarily, like you wouldn't be trying to like grow that per se. But I think even just going live off your personal profile would be a great place to just kind of like get in front of people. Because essentially like, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get in front of people. So if that's where the audience is, then go to where the audience is already at. And then, just kind of, you know, if you're doing lives or, you know, we can get into more advanced stuff, but yeah, like, and even with lives, you know, having like a schedule is always very valuable. And I remind people, go ahead, Felicia. Yeah.
Sorry, I get really excited. I don't mean that. That's not me interrupting. It's me like I talk with my hands. But that reminds me that like, because I don't have like as much time as I'd like to you know, commit to all this right away, although a lot of it's helping me do the things I need to do to be able to have the income and time to commit to it, which is nice. I have to kind of balance that, you know, effort here, effort there, time and commitment. I was thinking of starting something that's like once a week or something that's like not too crazy, but regular enough that people can count on, and is maybe on like a Sunday, so it's a day when like none of our team specifically is doing broadcasts, so it gives like, especially like all the people that I'm like telling to tune in, like I want to tune in too if I'm available, so I don't want to be I don't want to do it at the same time. And then it also gives other people that like either I know or don't know a chance to kind of like, and then it's like something else on a Sunday that, say, if people are only connected to the team, like our team, and they only like normally know of like Monday through Friday stuff, and they're like, oh man, it's Sunday, and they just didn't connect with, they happen to not connect with anyone else yet. I don't know, like, you know, that's just another option on a Sunday, and doing it kind of like I don't know. I've been kind of toying around with names, but doing kind of like it's going to sound weird saying spiritual variety show because I don't really mean it quite the way it probably comes out. But like I do little bits of like, it's not always necessarily the exact same thing, but a lot of similar stuff. But it's all kind of under that same umbrella. And I do it at like the same time every Sunday. And maybe once in a while it's at a different time, but I let everyone know if something like that's going to happen like a week in advance. And, you know, I keep up with that. And that way it's not too much. I'm not like dedicating myself to the level I'd like to. But it's something, and then I'm not dedicating myself to one particular thing. So it gives me the flexibility. Like if say I want to do the show on this, but oh crap, all this other stuff happens. Well, I have like a whole bunch of other options.
Yeah.
And I can focus that stuff on more specific things as time goes on when I have more like time and money to like dedicate to doing things. And it's at least doing like something that's helped feeding that spark without adding so much to it. I like burn it all out.
Yeah, no, I think that's good because I mean, again, with that stuff, like half the purpose of doing those broadcasts is just being able to create the routine for yourself as well, and just kind of like getting that familiarity. What I would look into is even setting up like what I was talking to Julia about, where you can actually do these broadcasts through Zoom. Because then through there, again, it will just kind of like stand out a little bit. Plus, it will also give you the option to be able to like invite people onto the broadcast if you wanted to do some sort of like conversations or something. Like I guess.
I really want to have. Again, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, what I was just saying though, but I was actually getting ahead of myself because again, I think that would more kind of be if you had like the desktop set up. So if you're just doing it from phone. I'm pretty sure you can invite people onto your calls through Facebook now. Like
that I know. I just discovered the other day that you can do because even if I can't do it through Zoom, I was gonna say I can at least. It's not as multi-platform broadcast as like doing it other ways, but even if I'm only limited to that, it's still something. And I could even post a Facebook Live link to something else that I have, even if I can't broadcast it interview style through there. So there's like lots of little ways.
Yeah, and another thing I'll just mention, and anything else, let me know. And I just want to make sure if we have anybody else who has any questions before we wrap this up. Also, even when you do your Facebook Live, theoretically, you could also like download the video afterwards and upload it to like a YouTube channel just to kind of keep it as an archive. Because that's the hard thing with Facebook is that it's all relative to the timeline. So like if someone's looking at your timeline, they're only seeing like the top 3 posts. Other than that, they literally have to scroll through, which no one does. So after you do some lives, if you feel good about it, like download that. But again, like that's where I'm just trying to think though, because I'm not 100% sure how the downloading process would work from mobile. Because I know you can download easily from using desktop and then upload to YouTube, but I'm just not 100% sure.
And I've seen how to download YouTube video. Like I know how to download YouTube audio, and I've been able to download YouTube videos, but in reverse. And like with Facebook, I haven't found specific like apps or programs yet, but I found them for like kind of the reverse. So I figured at least might be possible, and at least I feel pretty confident in my ability to find it if it does exist. And at least I'm grateful that there are alternatives, even if I'm only limited for now, and I'll be able to do the other things. But it's good that I at least can find like some other ways to do these things for now and be able to brainstorm with you guys.
Yeah, for sure. And
I'm super grateful for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The brainstorming is super important. But yeah, I would say even before you do go live, to just make sure that, maybe you can create like a little graphic letting people know about it a couple days in advance. And to just kind of like give people a little heads up. You can even practice before you go live for like say if you're going live for like 30 minutes or a half hour, you could even go live, the day ahead of time as just like a 1-minute thing just to let people know. So it's literally just like, hey everyone, like this is Felicia here. Want to let you guys know that we're doing our next broadcast this Sunday, et cetera, et cetera. So you just kind of like a 1-minute video really, really quickly just to be able to get the word out there. And then again, and this is where Facebook can kind of get a little bit more dynamic, where you also have the ability to be able to like share some of those videos you post like to different groups. So that's where you can kind of start like doing the additional outreach if you have some additional groups that you have permission to be able to share into. And let people know and invite them back to your profile to be able to tune in for that. But yeah, no, I think I think you're in a good spot just to be able to kind of like, you got like the idea there, and just being able to go forward with again, just, you can't steer a parked car. So once you kind of get that first live and just kind of like do it, try it out, see what works. If you need to adjust it as you go, right? And then just making sure that you're sending like one-to-one invites with people. And even if you got some friends that you already know who might be interested, maybe just kind of like let them know. And then again, maybe you can like have some of them on air. You could kind of like bring them into the discussion.
Yeah.
And then if anybody that you bring in, like, then they can become like a co-facilitator and helping invite their friends, like their audience, to be able to tune in as well. So just doing what you can to be able to make it like interactive by inviting more people to be involved with the co-creation of it would be something I would keep in mind. So yeah,
Definitely. It's a good idea.
Yeah. How does it feel just from what we talked about there? Does that give you some idea on what to do next, on your next steps?
Oh yeah. This has been like really super helpful. Like even like I knew it was gonna be helpful, but I'm like, wow, I actually got, just like every other time I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna talk a lot. I know I keep saying this, but I'm like, for the past, I guesstimated 7 years, it's more than 5, less than 10, but I'm like, wow, I always get a lot more I'm more productive talking, or like word things. I'll still stutter sometimes, but I'll word things a lot better than I thought I would. So I'm like, woohoo!
Cool. All right.
Go team, and my fitting within it.
Awesome. Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, with that stuff, please feel free to use the Discord to like let people know ahead of time, and like and post the links, even create like a little graphic, let everyone know like there's the channels for that. You can post it into the public channel, and you can post it into like the relative sub channels as well. So you can post it more than once. That's totally fun.
I really can't wait till I finally have like a proper desktop or laptop again, and all the programs that I'm like used to using, like all the professional programs and stuff, because I have a lot of experience with audio and video engineering and production, and like went to school for it and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh man, I know I'm gonna like still kick ass doing like these little bits, until then, but oh man, watch out world.
Oh,
watch out for this shift when I get my stuff together. Like
and just another thing to mention, like even if this show or whatever you're creating is something that you kind of want to create like a consistent thing of, like it wouldn't hurt to even have a Patreon ready for your first broadcast.
Right. And even if I'm like
simple, even if it's just the skeleton of it, just so like,
yeah, at least start like working on it. Or even if I don't want to release it right away with the first one, maybe I'm like, because with anxiety and things, and how some people not really realizing, I don't know, the place of Patreons, and some people might be like, what are you trying to do with this? At least give people, okay, they see what I'm doing the first like 2 or 3 weeks, and then maybe after the first month, like, okay, but I already worked on it and I can just post the link because I already set it up.
Yeah, and eventually as you get going, this is something we can work a little bit further. It's just kind of like how to use the language to be able to let people know about your Patreon. Because like with the Patreon, like, and this goes for anybody here, like the big shift for the Patreon that was really helpful for me was approaching it from the idea where it's like, you're not like asking people to donate, you're like inviting them to be a part of something. So like making sure, like essentially all your job is to like provide people with value, but then also invite them to be able to support the ongoing value that you're providing. And then if you have like additional rewards and stuff like that, you can work that in. Because essentially, again, like I know with what we're doing here, like, I'm facilitating this, but absolutely you guys can all facilitate like your own individual aspects of community as well. And I would encourage you to do that, because that's what we need right now. So definitely let me know if that's something, and we can talk a little bit more about that. And I would encourage you to even like be it today or tomorrow, just like go to Patreon, create a profile, start setting it up, and then you got it. And then just start filling it in later in the week. At least you have something there. So, but it's ready to go when you need it, and then upgrade it along the way. So.
Oh, I want to let some other people talk, but I want to leave you guys with one kind of just cool bonus thing. And it's basically something I'm going to work on right before I work on this stuff, like today. And take advantage of kind of needing to like lay down a bit today, because I got some pain stuff going on. But it's weird. It's because it's allowing me to do a lot of the things I need to do. Right after the other day, I told a bunch of y'all that I had gotten this one job, and that's the job that led me to be able to definitely get the Patreon as soon as I could. And thankfully I still have the money. I might have to do a card thing because I might not be able to get to the bank. But I had basically the person that they called before me called them back and basically got my job, even though they said I did really great. But then I found a job opportunity in a field that I really want to be in right before and didn't really apply. But then when I went back to look, there was like 7 and they were all in fields even closer, like in subfields of that field, even closer to what I want to do. And I might not get those. I might, but it's like just such a clear, definitive sign for me that like, of both in my own life and kind of as, you know, listening to whoever else is hearing me talk about it, that it's a sign that, you know, maybe this bad thing or this bad thing might happen, but that it might be bringing you towards something better. And having a very real, like, wow, if I'm not going here, it's at least bringing me somewhere better. All right, let's go, universe. Like,
that's exciting though. Yeah, no, totally. Or I'm excited to see what happens for you. That's cool. So cool. All right. Okay. Well, only just because we're getting a little bit.
Stick.
Yeah, we'll pass the talking stick. And we can go just a few minutes over. That's okay, but we will wrap it up in the next little bit. I wanted to just again, and Felicia, thank you for sharing. Julia as well, Kristen as well. Jennifer, Carly, if there's anything else you guys want to jump in on, please feel free to let me know. I know obviously it's fine if you're just listening. But if anybody does have any other quick things they want to just bring to attention before we wrap this up, please feel free to let me know, or even just give some gratitude on how this was. If like just listening to this was valuable, because I'm sure it was relative for any of us to be able to just hear what was talked about. Kristen, Jennifer, did you guys want to, anything else? Guys, Kristen? Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yes, please. Felicia, I just wanted to say that like I completely relate with the frustrations of being stuck to your phone, but don't give up and just like be resilient in it. And you've got it. Like you've got everything you need to do it, and don't let that computer hold you back, okay? Because you're gonna rock it out. But it is frustrating, and I feel you there. But you're gonna do amazing things. So. And then the other part, I did want to ask. I was talking to somebody about YouTube and the fact that you can actually set private YouTube videos to be where people have to actually pay to watch them. Is that anything you've worked with, Brendan, or know anything about?
To pay to watch YouTube videos, I'm not entirely familiar with that. Like I know like YouTube has like its built-in like movie platform where you can rent things and buy things. But in terms for community members to set that up, not that I know of, but what you can do is you can implement that same system using a platform using Vimeo. I know Vimeo does that. I've used that before, where you can literally like rent it or download it for 24 hours or something like that. I'll have to look into the YouTube thing, but as far as I know right now, I don't think you can like make it so that people have to purchase to view private videos. I don't think that's a thing, but I assume like that's something that you're kind of thinking for like individual videos that you might want to be able to sell as like a package and stuff like that. Is that?
Yeah, for the more in-depth informational stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And would that stuff even be like included as part of your Patreon, but then also available as like a purchase?
Yes. So it would be like it's either going to be a way to substitute Patreon, or it could be a like, hey, if you're a part of Patreon, you have access to these videos as well. So I guess that's kind of my idea on it. I wasn't sure if the YouTube was a way to go with it, or that's kind of a baby in making right there. I haven't gotten it very far.
Yeah. I'll look into that a little bit more too, just be able to see if there might be some like new stuff about YouTube that I haven't seen yet. So cool. Okay, Kristen, was there anything else? For now?
No, thank you guys all so much. I appreciate you all are inspiration constantly. Thank you.
Go team. All right. And Jennifer, did you want to jump in with anything?
Thank you very much. This was last minute. I didn't know that I was going to be able to join today, so I appreciate you letting me join last minute. Just listening was great. I do have something that I want to talk to you more about in depth, Brendan, but I realize we don't have time today. I've been building on this idea of a reference library of sorts for, and Kristen's been helping me a little bit with this too, but a reference library of sorts for newly awakened people that will assist them in getting kind of grounded in a head start and put them on the right path, for kind of giving them a shortcut for, hey, you know, if you're at a freshman level of spiritual awakening, then this may be good material for you to read versus a sophomore or senior level. The thing that I'm struggling with right now, though, is I don't know what platform would be best suited for something like that. I'm thinking, I wouldn't be storing like digital books or anything. It would mainly be links, to other materials, to other videos and articles and things like that. Would I need to pay to host like a website, or is there something out there already?
Yeah, there's something I can think off the top of my head, and I appreciate you asking that, because this gives me a chance to just kind of like share something that we've talked about in other meetings, but I don't think it was recorded, so a lot of you probably haven't heard of this. This is a website known as Notion, notion.so. I'm going to post a link for it down in the chat. This would be an equivalent to, opposed to just like literally creating like a website using like Squarespace or Wix. Not to say you couldn't do that, but for what you're looking to do, I think this would be a good alternative. With Notion, basically it's kind of, how do I explain this? It's very versatile, but you can basically create like a variety of like Excel documents, spreadsheets, like checklists, calendars, pretty much any type of document you can actually create. But I've actually used it in a way where you actually can create something similar to like an encyclopedia or an index. Something of that nature, and you can kind of like organize it, and it's really easy visually to kind of like go through, where you can kind of like click, things expand, and then you click, and then more things expand, and then you can kind of like go back, view it like a tree. I think Notion would actually be something that would be easy enough for you to get started with. When you create an account on it, you'll have like all these different templates to play with, but you might almost want to just like delete all of those and then just start blank, or at least like learn it, right? But then keep it very, very simple. Because again, I think with what you're looking to do, it would definitely be something that you could create, like, again, just kind of like categories and subcategories with it. So yeah, like I would use that. And then what you can do is you can basically like create your Notion. You can even create it so that more than one person can work on it. So like say if Kristen or somebody else wants to be able to add to it, that's possible. Like I've created a Notion for the team, but I just haven't fully implemented it yet, just because I still want to work on it some more, and it's kind of been put on the shelf for a little bit. But you could like add another member, and then there is you can do a paid for plan, which allows like additional members to be able to be involved. But for what you're looking to do, I think it would definitely be something to get started with without having to like dive into the dynamics of needing to create an entire website. And once you've created it, you can literally create an option where it says like, make this link publicly available, and then you share that link. And then that link becomes the link that you could share as like your index for people. So I would say start with that, and then play around with it. Just like spend an evening just playing around with it. I think you'll get a feel for it pretty quick. And then just like let me know if that's working for you, and otherwise we can explore some other options. But that would be the first one I would suggest, opposed to pointing you and telling you that you should get like Wix or Squarespace or something like that, because I think that's a little bit not quite what you need, whereas this one's a great place just to start off with. So yeah,
that's awesome, Brandon. Thank you very much. I appreciate the tip. I'm gonna play with that tonight.
Cool, no problem. I love your tapestry in the background, by the way. I recognize the art. Yeah,
I just got it. Thank you.
We just got it. Beautiful, beautiful, awesome. a lot of wolf things going around these days. So
yeah.
All right, okay. We'll just kind of move into any closing quick questions or any just gratitude, and then we'll wrap up this broadcast or this meeting in like 2 minutes. So, how's everybody feeling right now in terms of their next steps? You guys feeling good? Yeah? Okay, cool. Anybody just want to be able to express any gratitude for the people watching this in the future? You guys can do that. Please go ahead.
Both like gratitude in how this meeting affected my greater mission and our greater mission and all this, and also how it affected like me and my personal life today, and woke up in a lot of pain this morning, and I have a lot of other things to do, but then my goals for this are helping me accomplish the other goals I have to do first. And I've been in a lot of stuck spots, so it seems like a small thing, but that's huge for me. So I'm like, woo, all right, this is awesome.
Awesome.
And I'm just so grateful for all of y'all, and I'll leave it at that.
Awesome. Thank you, Felicia. We are grateful for you as well. And yeah, again, like that's the thing, you know, like just creating momentum on one end kind of creates momentum on all ends. So yeah,
Mhm.
great to hear.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Okay. Anybody else or any, I'm not sure, Carly, sorry, I forgot to check in. And Carly, if you had anything you want to jump in on, just let me know before this wraps up. I know you were listening, so I appreciate you being here. And yeah, anybody else who just wants to, just any gratitude for the people listening in the future. And no pressure either way, because they know they love you. You love them. So, Kristen, yeah, Kristen and Julia, at the same time.
I just want to say that you guys rock, all of you, every single one of you, in your hearts, in your souls, and in your minds. And don't ever give up on yourself, because you can do anything you want as long as you believe you can do it. And so just keep stepping forward, even if it's just like the tiniest baby toe of a step, it's still forward. So keep that momentum and don't hold yourself back. That's all I've got.
Awesome. Thanks, Kristen. Julia, did you want to say something real quick?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for everything you're doing. This is like so much awesome stuff coming from you, like constantly. It's just amazing. Thank you so much, Brendan. You're so awesome.
Thanks, Julia. Happy to share. Yeah, and again, that's the way, like, I love doing this, because again, like at this point, you know, like success is team success, right? Like, yeah, I'm growing my TikTok and I'm doing this and everything like that, but like seeing you guys build your stuff is like shared success, you know? So that's the goal, and just being able to support each other means a lot. So thank you guys for rocking it. Cool. Okay, we'll wrap it up here unless there's anybody else who wants to jump in. I think we're good. Cool, ready to go? Okay, all right, okay, everybody say goodbye to everybody who tuned in today. Bye, we love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
We love you.
Bye.
We love you.